Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about a very quick tip. This came up in the community today, and I forgot, because we've been working with collision for such a long time, that this is still new to lots of folks out there. So shout outs to Reflex. Thank you very much for this. The question was basically, how do you manipulate and control your collision box from the editor? And you can see that it becomes harder and harder to see when you're trying to do, especially on small graphics, a very small hitbox. So Reflex basically said you can work around this by zooming in on the sprite, selecting F on the keyboard to zoom focus, and then you select your collision points in the smaller editor to also adjust your collision. So, and we have a good example of that here. So here on our player craft, well, you can tell here in the collision window here, so it's collision here, that I have a very small collision box, which is essentially, I'm going to press F on the keyboard now with it selected, bloop, which you can see is essentially this is the only dangerous spot where the player can take damage, and it's very hard to get that small collision shape. So what you can do is you can zoom in. And then this other collision box here is a different color. So we're on the right one here. So this one is hitbox number 2. And you can grab these little nuggets and you can see them manipulating. So you can see me spinning this thing around, right? Whee, super fun. And you can grab each of these and you can adjust your collision space that way. So if it's too small for you, that's your trick for doing that. Thank you very much, Reflex, for pointing that out. One other quick pro tip here is you have the ability to add multiple collision shapes, and you only want to do this if you're needed. Every collision shape costs a little bit more to test against, and you definitely don't want too many complex collision shapes. So always try to be as primitive as possible, and make sure you are only using your collision shapes for if you have world geometry or screen borders that you want to adhere to. So that would be what I'm doing here. So to give you an example of that is, so here I have my main collision shape, which we just took a look at adjusting. And then I have a bigger collision shape here, which you can see here is the bigger one here. And basically this one I've checked is I'm using this for screen bounds limit, because I wanted the player, because for me, right, for instance, if I have this unchecked, we just go into runtime. So then what would happen is that you can see that it's only using my smallest player collision in order to basically do damage, right? And if I check my use collision used for out of screen bounds limit, bloop, then you can tell here that I no longer get stuck. I still leave a little border, but I don't get stuck as far out of the frame as I was previously, right? So, and the other side of this too is if you have your small collision shape, but you want to have a little bit more, danger between you and the collision object. So you can adjust your collision bits to match with that. So anyways, small thing. The main point here is that you have 2 types of collision. And that's one of the ways you can use that for. But most importantly, again, F on the keyboard, and you can adjust your collision shape here, and you can see at a much higher visibility. Okay, cool. That was it. Thank you very much. Talk to everyone soon. Bye.